We're guaranteed a crossover for the second straight year.
The Riders have to be thinking about what a tremendous opportunity this is now.
It's a touchdown, wide open. Chad Owens first as a Saskatchewan Roughrider.
The factor is going to be that defense. How well are they going to play against Trevor Harris playing in his first postseason game?
Easy pickings, Gerard Carter. And now he's going to go for a run. He's going to score. Touchdown. What a night for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Trevor Harris, he's never started a game in the postseason.
I finally get the chance to play in a playoff game. It's a good feeling.
Harris to the end zone. Wow. Touchdown.
I want to prove myself as a great player in the playoffs.
If they play clean football, they'll win.
A beautiful November day in the nation's capital. 2 degrees, perfect for football, not very windy either, as we get set to start the CFL playoffs with the East Division semifinal and the crossover Saskatchewan Roughriders getting set to take on the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Welcome to our CFL playoff coverage. Here all day, the Western Semi later with Winnipeg hosting the Edmonton Eskimos. Rod Smith along with Jock Climie, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stiegel as well. Saskatchewan has crossed over twice before in 2002 and in 2005. The last time they played in a crossover game, they were up against Chris Jones, who was the defensive coordinator for the Montreal Alouettes. But this is an interesting one and some rested teams here, Jock.
Yeah, they sure are. And is it too rested for the REDBLACKS situation? Is this football team played enough? Had enough reps? That's what we're going to find out today.
I'm so happy to see Casey Rogers, cornerback, back in the ball game because that gives Duron Carter an opportunity to go back to the offensive side of the football and do what he does best, I think, and that's catch footballs.
Trevor Harris, first postseason game. Let's see what he can do.
Well, it'll be interesting indeed as we get some thoughts now from the guys in Ottawa. Let's go to James Duthie and Henry Burris.
All right, thank you, Rod. The reigning Grey Cup MVP in the booth instead of on the field for this one. What is the key to each team winning this game and getting a chance at Toronto?
Well, you know, you look at the sidelines, you got the 2 last Grey Cup winning head coaches who are squaring off head-to-head. For Ottawa to win, their secondary has to contain these receivers and make sure they keep Saskatchewan's weakness, being their offensive production, their weakness. But if you look at the Saskatchewan Roughriders, now they have to get that offense playing well. They have to get that offense playing well. Their defense is already noted for, and Chris Jones in the return game has to be effective again.
Saskatchewan trying to become the first crossover team to get to the Grey Cup. They'll win, they get Toronto next week. Ottawa, after all those decades of futility and frustration, Rod, these home playoff games have become a habit. This is the 3rd straight year. One extra one this time to get to the Grey Cup. They'll have to go through Toronto if they can get past Saskatchewan first.
All right, thank you, James. Henry, looking forward to this one today. And so, too, I assume, is Ryan Prastupa of Meacham, Saskatchewan. You could win a $25,000 home theater package from Visions Electronics if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in this game, thanks to Safeway Sobeys' $1 million touchdown to win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned for a TD in this game, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Ryan. First playoff meeting between Saskatchewan and Ottawa since '76. Let's go to Rod Black and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, Rod. Hello, Canada. And welcome to the playoffs. 2 teams that know each other well. They play close football. 2 teams with great history through the years. 1 team crossing over. 1 team the defending Grey Cup champions. And we are 2 weeks away from Grey Cup Sunday in this very stadium.
Well, and who shows up there on that day will depend largely on performances today from the quarterback position. Trevor Harris, of course, makes his first postseason start. That's been a lot of the talk in Ottawa. Trevor Harris 6-1 in his last 7 starts of 2017. Kevin Glenn, no slouch himself, playoff veteran, one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. Kevin Glenn was 4-2 coming down the stretch this season. So you've got 2 hot QBs rolling into the playoffs.
2 coaches who know each other, previous staffs. By the way, these 2 coaches are the last 2 Grey Cup championship winning coaches. Chris Jones with the Edmonton Eskimos back in 2015, and of course last year, Rick Campbell, who brought and led the Ottawa REDBLACKS and this city to their first Grey Cup win since 1976. stadium already getting fitted for Grey Cup Sunday on November 26th. We've got the bleachers up. We've got clear skies. It's a little cool. The temperature will go down, but it's certainly perfect for football and certainly perfect for playoff football today. The Saskatchewan Roughriders won the toss. They decided to take the football right away. So let the playoffs begin, everybody. Red and black, green and white. Go time for the East Division semifinal. In the shadows on the far sideline, it's Marcus Thigpen, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, down near the 31-yard line. And the 38-year-old Kevin Glenn, 12th playoff start, his 5th different team in the playoffs.
Yeah, Canadian Football League record, starting a playoff game for 5 different teams. Kevin Glenn, of course, has had his ups and downs this season, as he's had throughout his career. Much talk about the tandem with Brandon Bridge, but a lot of the feeling is they haven't made that change against Ottawa in their 2 meetings, both of which came in the final 6 weeks.
Throwing right away, far sideline, and immediately goes to Duron Carter, who hasn't had a lot of receptions over the last few weeks. But clearly, number 89 is going to see a lot of football today.
Yeah, no question about that. Duron Carter having his biggest game of the year against these Ottawa REDBLACKS. They look to get him involved early, as you just saw. Little shuffle on the offensive line with Brendan Labatt out of the lineup. Last year's most outstanding O-lineman Derek Dennis will slide inside and play that left guard spot this week. 3 Americans on the O-line for Saskatchewan.
Second down, looking for their first down of the ball game. And Marcus Thigpen is that starting tailback. They've had Cameron Marshall, of course. Trent Richardson also is Keenan LaFrance in that backfield, who was with Ottawa last year.
And we'll take a look at this Ottawa defense. One of the guys who's gone the other way from Saskatchewan to Ottawa, Jonathan Newsom, joined to help boost their pass rush. Some injuries in the secondary, particularly to Jarrell Gavins, means Adrian James is in at the nickel spot. Sherrod Baltimore shifts from boundary to field.
Little jet sweep here, and a big gain as Chad Owens, the former Argo Hamilton Tiger Cat, did not play most of this season with injury. But Chad Owens, the fly-in Hawaiian, goes flying here. Big gain of 19 yards.
Yeah, and much of the discussion when Chad Owens came over from Hamilton as a free agent in the offseason was that they were signing him to be their primary kick returner. What they found is he's been so good since coming off the injured list, you can't keep him off the field offensively. He's still such a versatile and dynamic weapon.
Another first down, this time into Ottawa territory, and there's Duron Carter again up near the 35-yard line, and Saskatchewan marching the football at will here. Again, they took that coin toss, won it, and said, we're going to get the football and we're going to try to score first.
And with Duron Carter at that wide receiver spot, you know, I mean, this is a big team at receiver. Even with Caleb Hawley out of the lineup, Chad Owens in this week, still a big team at receiver. And this has always been one of the challenges for the Ottawa secondary, is they are not physically a big group.
Glenn strolling once more, looking over the top. And up near the 30-yard line, half the first down yardage. And Naaman Roosevelt hauling that in. Looks like they're going to give him about 6 yards. It'll be second down now in this dangerous receiving corps, full of weapons for the veteran Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, terrific group. You look at the depth that they've assembled over the course of the last couple of years. Huge second down here for Ottawa defensively to try to get a stop on this Saskatchewan offense that come flying out of the gate.
Bakari Grant in motion. Glenn looking that way, over the top, and he has Grant, and it's a first down and more. Down near the 5, he's scoring, touchdown, Saskatchewan! What a start for the Riders. Bakari Grant, who's played in Grey Cup games before, has never won before, wants to get back there this year, and this was a huge start for the Riders, 29-yard touchdown.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders have rolled in here with that team of destiny kind of swagger about them, and there's absolutely nothing on the opening series to dispel that notion. It's going to be up to Trevor Harris and the Ottawa O to bounce right back here.
Tyler Krapina did not miss a convert all season, continues in the postseason. Electrifying start, great drive. Kevin Glenn finds Bakari Grant coming off his first 1,000-yard season, and he starts the East semifinal with the first major. CFL playoffs on TSN are brought to you by Shaw. Proud to present the 105th Grey Cup, which will be played right here at TD Place at Lansdowne. Saskatchewan Roughriders take the ball first.
Hey, what's up, my baby girl, Carrie Marie, KJ. I love y'all. I see y'all, baby.
And Bakari Grant takes it to the house and has a number of shout-outs as well early on. And so now it's time for the Ottawa REDBLACKS to hold serve. A team that has been notorious this season for very difficult first quarters. But look at this return. Out of the gates is Deontay Spencer, an instant field position for Trevor Harris, the 31-year-old, who has a couple of Grey Cup rings but has never started a CFL playoff game.
Yeah, a very unique situation for Trevor Harris. As you said, a quarterback who has plenty of starting experience over the last few years, both in Toronto and here in Ottawa. Has those 2 Grey Cup rings as a backup, 2016 and 2012, but hasn't seen that postseason action until now.
Will be missing one of his key weapons in Brad Sinopoli, out for the year, and William Powell is swallowed up. Willie Jefferson throws him for a loss, and this will mean a throwing down for Harris and company.
Well, William Powell is the most talked about member of the Ottawa offense coming into this game. He's been terrific down the stretch for this team, and they're going to need him to provide some balance, counteract that tough Saskatchewan D coming in here. A lot of help to get Sir Vincent Rogers back on the offensive line. He's at left tackle. We'll see him frequently matched up against the aforementioned Willie Jefferson.
They show blitz. Harris now has his man, and it could be a touchdown. It is a touchdown for Deontay Spencer. Buckle up, partner. Now that is unique. What a start here.
You talk about a guy picking up where he left off. Let's remember Deontay Spencer's last game. He set a Canadian Football League record for most combined yards. And we saw exactly the same thing on this drive. Spencer gives them tremendous field position off the kickoff return and then comes up with a big play as a receiver to even the score.
They will go for 2 to take the lead here. Ottawa REDBLACK team that likes going for 2. 15 for 25 this season. They've taken the most 2-point convert attempts, trying to convert. Corner route in the shadows. Successful. Jerron Kreiner. Buckle up. Buckle up. The shootout has begun in the East semifinal. The Riders punch first. The REDBLACKS punch back. Well, we've had some fireworks already. Deontay Spencer on the return, 37 yards. That was just a warm-up.
Okay, so let's do the math. He caught the kickoff on the 17-yard line, so they need 93 yards for a touchdown. Guess how many all-purpose yards Deontay Spencer has?
Same number?
Yeah.
There you go.
I know the whole Louisiana watching. This for y'all, man. Stand up, man.
Deontay Spencer from New Iberia, Louisiana.
It's too easy, man. Hey.
Guy who set a record for combined yardage in a CFL game late in the season, 496. And already these teams are going at it. Big Pen now, also a dangerous returner. So back to you, Kevin Glenn. And we've only just begun.
Yeah, both teams out of the gate. And there you see Kevin Glenn talked about the playoff experience, the advantage that he has in that statistic. Kevin Glenn, with his longevity, continued production, continues to climb the ranks among CFL quarterbacks, but he's still looking for that one milestone.
One milestone.
The Grey Cup ring.
Nomadic lifestyle through the years. He's throwing again, been perfect so far, and stays that way. Goes over the top up near the 45, name on Roosevelt. Once more. Again, both of these teams with a treasure chest of receivers.
They do a nice job there opening up the middle for Naaman Roosevelt. Chad Owens in the flat to one side. Couple wide routes, everything outside the hash marks on the other side. Giving Roosevelt all sorts of room to get open. The silent assassin for these Saskatchewan Roughriders. He doesn't talk much. All he does is produce.
Played his university ball in Buffalo. Up the middle goes Thigpen, and they can't bring him down into Ottawa territory. And so far, this game has become a bit of a nightmare for the defensive coordinators, has it not?
Yeah, they've got to find some answers in a hurry. It's looking a little bit like a track meet. You see Marcus Thigpen, former Hamilton Tiger Cat, guy who became the first Canadian Football League player to score a touchdown in 5 different ways in the same season. So you know he's an all-purpose threat.
Mark Nelson watching above. Defensive coordinator. 1st and 10 Riders from Ottawa's 49. Glenn batted down. 1st incompletion. Zach Evans knocks that down. You don't think Zach Evans is a little pumped up today, 40?
Well, I'll tell you, Zach Evans, this is a guy who got a Grey Cup ring the last time the Riders won a Grey Cup in 2013. Regina native, played his high school ball at O'Neill High School. Doing battle with one of his longtime buddies, Dan Clark. These guys played together in high school. They played against each other in high school, played together a lot of one-on-ones against each other in practice, going back many years.
Out in the flat, and some running room here for the guy who last year paved the way for the Ottawa REDBLACKS to the Grey Cup. It was Keenan LaFrance last year in the snow game, of course, who had the game the day of his life.
Yeah, pressed into action early in that ball game. Injury to Moses Madu, and the super sub Keenan LaFrance tore it up. The University of Manitoba product. Absolutely went off, catapulting the Ottawa REDBLACKS into the Grey Cup game.
Solid back. Little counter play here. Thigpen bashing and crashing and getting close to that 1st down marker. But yes, LaFrance having that great game, and then going to Saskatchewan, closer to home. You mentioned it, he hails from Winnipeg and played his college ball at the University of Manitoba. But he's done the same thing in green and white that he did with the REDBLACKS.
Well, he sure has. And, you know, this was a guy who was a priority signing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders when free agency opened in February. You've seen guys like Cameron Marshall, obviously Trent Richardson, Marcus Thigpen in the lineup, but to have a Canadian who can play there gives him so much flexibility.
2nd and 2. Firing. Good catch. Down inside the 10-yard line, inside that red zone area, inside the 20-yard line. And really now in what we might call the green zone, inside the 10-yard line, where the Saskatchewan Roughriders have had the 3rd best percentage in the CFL this year.
You see Kevin Glenn has been very good on the timing routes so far. Deron Carter involved early, and this is one of the things, to me, that Ottawa didn't want to have happen, is for Deron Carter to be on a bit of a roll early in this ballgame.
He's the most targeted for the Riders inside this red zone, but this is a little flip pass, and down near the goal line, fumbling the football, but it was whistled down, was LaFrance. Almost near the end zone where he took it to the house last year in the snow. And a great play call here, almost to the end zone as he goes airborne.
Yeah, terrific effort by LaFrance. You see the ball didn't come out until he hit the ground. You know, talk about the versatility of having a Canadian back there. Important to have that flexibility with Derek Dennis becoming the 3rd American O-lineman.
Penalty flag down, Kevin Glenn in the end zone. Squirms in, let's see what the call is. Kim Murphy is our referee today. First quarter, that's been
offside.
Flying by.
Ottawa, number 32. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Kevin Glenn, third rushing touchdown of 2017, first of the playoffs. And once again, the Riders jump out in front. Once again, they'll go for the single point after from the 32-yard line. Tyler Crapina, the former McMaster Marauder, who, by the way, is back in his own hood this week. So it has to be special for Tyler getting a chance to be back in his hometown in Ottawa.
Talk to me, Godfather! Talk to me! Talk to him!
There is that platoon, that dynamic duo. Glenbridge. Not sure if we'll see Brandon today. We'll wait on the convert. There's an injured player in the end zone. Kevin Glenn getting it done already. But lots of football to come in the East Division semifinal. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Jake Ceresno was injured. He went to the sideline, did not look good, so REDBLACKS will have to make some adjustments on their line. And here comes, again, the hometown kid, Tyler Crapina, who's made a lot of clutch kicks since he became a Saskatchewan Roughrider. This is the point after from 32. Money all year long. Makes it 14-8. Just before this ball game, Trevor Harris did what Henry Burris had done many times before.
I'm confident today because I got y'all behind me. And you know what? I'm behind each and every single one of you guys. Let's fight for the brother next to you, man. This is what we've been working for. Let's go out and make our dreams happen. Let's go. REDBLACKS on 3. 1, 2, 3. REDBLACKS.
And this is what Trevor Harris has been waiting for. Here's Matthew Shinetti.
You think about the stats, Rod, that this is Trevor Harris's 56th game in the CFL. He's passed for over 13,000 yards, but this is his first playoff start, and all week he's been kind of dismissing the notion of nerves or any kind of anxiety. But when you speak to his offensive coordinator, Jamie Elizondo, who watches Harris so meticulously before games to read his body language, to see how he's mentally and physically prepared, Elizondo says, I don't mind him being nervous. He's going to be nervous. It's his first playoff start, but I know he's not anxious. I know he's focused. But the fact is he will in fact make mistakes in this game. The question in Coach Elizondo's mind is, what does Trevor Harris do when he makes that first mistake? Guys.
Trevor Harris, no mistakes yet, but now needs to answer that Saskatchewan touchdown. Well, Trevor Harris cherishes that big moment in the big game.
To start a playoff game, that's when the chips are more in the middle of the table, and so that's what you live for. When I was in my backyard as a kid, I sure wasn't coming back in the fourth quarter, 99-yard drives in the preseason games. It was the postseason games, and those are the things you envision yourself in, is those big games. That's what I'm really excited about.
Well, he has been a starter at times, but had been a backup, of course, behind Ricky Ray in Toronto, behind Henry Burris here. Won a couple of cups. Out of the backfield, Patrick Lavoie, that bruising fullback out of Laval. One thing Trevor Harris has done since he came to the CFL, has thrown for a high percentage.
Yeah, he certainly has high percentage. He's been very productive. Anytime he's been a starter in this league, going back to 2015 with the Toronto Argonauts, where he started most of that season for them. I think one of the things Trevor Harris has learned to do, particularly down the stretch this season, is to close out games.
Second down and 4. Near sideline for his tailback, William Powell, out of the backfield right at the first down marker. Looks like they will, yes they will, get a fresh set of downs. And this is what the Ottawa REDBLACKS will also do to Chris Jones and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Operate at high tempo. They will no huddle a lot.
Yeah, this is their comfort zone, obviously going back to the days of Jason Moss as their offensive coordinator.
Right back at the line of scrimmage, ready to go again. Powell up the gut. 2 or 3 yards, back to a throwing down for Trevor Harris once more. Harris, yesterday, I don't know if it was annoyed is the right word, but I think he's getting tired. A little fatigued of all the questions about being that guy who's getting his first start. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I don't even know if I'd say annoyed, because Trevor's a guy, he understands it. He understands that this is the question people are going to ask. He understands that it's a story that he's the kind of guy that he makes fun of it.
Good-hearted guy, class act, good leader. Both teams perfect so far in second down conversions. Looping toss, down the rail. What a catch here! Well, so far, this has been the Deontay Spencer show for the Ottawa REDBLACKS. 34 yards, down to the 26.
And this is a matchup where Deontay Spencer is giving up inches. You'd think in this kind of a route, that fade down the sideline, Casey Rogers a bigger man, but Spencer gets that half step on him and goes up and gets the ball, high points it over top of the bigger defender.
8 for 8, the teams now on second down. The blitz comes, there goes the ball! And an incompletion as Harris got dusted in the backfield as he tried to deliver that football.
Now Saskatchewan bringing a little bit of pressure. Certainly wanting to make Ottawa and Trevor Harris think twice about those slower developing deep routes.
Back to a second down conversion. They put Lavoie in motion on the line of scrimmage. Harris again. Little crossing pattern. Right down near that first down marker. Looks like it might be a little shy. And that's Spencer once more. So Deontay Spencer has been the prime focus so far for Trevor Harris.
And you're going to see the 2 routes in front of him clear things out, create a little bit of space. Deontay Spencer working to that flat on Ed Gainey, and you saw him kind of press the inside, knowing the defender wants to protect that inside first. He leaned on the inside a little bit, getting Gainey to tip that way, shift his weight that way, create some separation as he made that break to the flat.
Also creates a third down in inches. Ryan Lindley, the former Arizona Cardinal draft pick, comes in for the short yardage play.
That Deontay Spencer, by the way, already on 3 catches, 99 yards in this ball game. He has been the Ottawa offense to this point.
Yikes. Again, coming off a game where he had almost 500 combined yards. Might need it today. So 3rd and inches for Lindley and the REDBLACKS. And he stood up. But I think it's enough because it was inches. Had that been a half yard, no chance. First down.
Second effort from Ryan Lindley as well. You'll see on the first contact, kind of gets pushed back, but he keeps his feet, which is what allows him to fight and get those necessary inches.
Ottawa REDBLACKS also operate at high efficiency in the red zone inside the 20-yard line. 2nd in the CFL this season. 65%. The BC Lions were number 1. Trevor Harris, dynamite in the red zone. Handed off again to Powell. William Powell, who finished 2nd in the CFL rushing race, only played 12 games. Crowd wants a penalty. No flags down. Little rough stuff, and now on this kind of cool day, things heat up.
Well, it was inevitable. At some point here in the playoffs, the intensity is ratcheted up. Everything on the line for these 2 teams.
So it'll be 2nd and 5 to go from the Saskatchewan 10. A minute 20 to go in what has been an outstanding first quarter of football. Harris from the shadows near the goal line. This is picked by Sam McWavin. And the first turnover of the game is a Trevor Harris interception. Sam Aguavin steals one. The Ball Hawks from the Riders rise up here, take one away in the East semifinal. Former star at Texas Tech, Sam Aguavin, pilfers one from the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
Yeah, super sophomore for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's in at that weak side linebacker spot. You see his eyes looking right back at the quarterback, eyes on the ball. He knows where the receiver's going. Jumps that route to Jerron Kreiner. Come up with the game's first turnover.
Well, you heard Matthew Shinetti talk about that first mistake. That's one from Trevor Harris. Aaron toss this time. Kevin Glenn looking for the guy who scored the first touchdown, Bakari Grant. They have chemistry, of course, from their days in Hamilton as well. Kevin Glenn is 8 of 10 for 115 yards and a touchdown already. Spread the wealth as well. They have been perfect on second down conversions. 5 for 5 right now. Clock draining in this opening quarter. Glenn now stepping up, does some dancing, and Kevin Glenn gets hit hard. But gets up, and the REDBLACKS actually might have taken the worst of that sandwich. Glenn did not get the first down. They're immediately calling to the sideline here. Nick Taylor, one of the players in on that.
He and Corey Tyndall, a little friendly fire incident between Ottawa DBs.
Team that's already without Jarrell Gavins.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this forces them to rework an already reworked boundary side of that secondary. That's where Jarrell Gavins was that short side halfback spot. The shuffle this week with Gavins out. He's down for the season with a knee injury suffered in practice. Nick Taylor, who had been playing the nickel spot, goes, Sherrod Baltimore was at the boundary, Gavins at the field. So Baltimore goes from boundary to field. Taylor goes from nickel to boundary half. Adrian James comes into the lineup as the nickel.
Now probably some more shuffling, and that is...
You see Corey Tyndall, Corey Tyndall, the corner on that boundary side, frequently matched up with Deron Carter. We've seen it already. The Battle of Fort Lauderdale, two guys who hail from that area. But now we'll see somebody else in at the boundary corner spot.
So here is our first punt of the ball game. Final 15 seconds of the opening frame in the East semifinal. Josh Bartell, kicker from down under. So good at that end-over-end kick, which he does right here. Spencer back at his 30, hangs on, looks for a seam. Deontay Spencer up near the 42-yard line on the final play of this opening quarter. Quarter that saw the Saskatchewan Roughriders strike quickly. Ottawa answer back, and at the end of it, the Riders lead 14-8. Good one going on here. The playoffs are here in the nation's capital. The vet, Kevin Glenn, off to a blistering start here. 14-8, Saskatchewan leads. Crossover team trying to do something that no crossover team has ever done. That's get to a Grey Cup game. They have to get through this one right now. Glenn's been really, really good. Trevor Harris was really good up until that interception. Deontay Spencer has been really special.
Yeah, Deontay Spencer has been the story certainly for Ottawa so far in this ball game, as they've leaned on him heavily, and it goes back to their last regular season game in Week 19. Deontay Spencer, Mr. All-Purpose.
There's that record. Keep in mind that we talk about their last game being in October 27th. This is the REDBLACKS' first game in a month. A lot of talk about rest versus rust. They look well rested so far. We'll see how they carry on. Shovel pass to Jake Hardy, the former Calgary Dino. Jake Hardy's had to fill in over those last few games with Brad Sinopoli out, and it's filled in admirably.
And I'm a big fan of the shovel pass as a play. You give that rollout, sprint out look from the quarterback to draw the defensive end upfield. You put him in a bind as it then creates an open lane for the shovel receiver, in this case, Jake Hardy.
Powell's in the backfield. Will he get the ball here on 2nd and short? Yes, he will. Little stutter step, and William Powell talked about those yards. Had he played the entire season, you prorate it, he would have been close to 2,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, I mean, we all know William Powell is such an important part of this Ottawa offense. You know, from the moment he stepped into their lineup late in the 2015 season, provided an immediate spark as both receiver and ball carrier.
Issue is he's had to keep out of the trainer's room. He's been hurt so much. Going downtown for Ellingson. Oh, that doesn't happen too often. Greg Ellingson, first time he is targeted today. And Trevor Harris had him. Greg Ellingson might be the first to tell you that normally that's a ball that's in his grasp.
Yeah, Ellingson got a half step on Javon Johnson back here. He seemed to track the ball pretty well in terms of putting himself in position to make that play, but unable to squeeze it this time.
Ellingson, who has had so many clutch catches, 3rd leading receiver in yardage. First time they've gone to him, won't be the last today. Key 2nd down for the REDBLACKS. Harris stands in, crossing pattern. Jaron Kreiner is going to be about 3 yards short, so the kick team will have to come out now for Ottawa. Brett Maher, before this game, was telling our Matthew Shinetti that he thinks he can kick one from 60 today. But this time they are going to punt the football. Wind swirling a little bit. Battle of the field position now. Christian Jones back in the sunshine at his 10. Maher trying to angle one here to the coffin corner. Jones snares that. Long field here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But they have the lead in the East Division semifinal. The crossover team, 14-8. Well, this rivalry used to be the Roughriders against the Roughriders. They had only met in the playoffs up until today in Grey Cup games back in 1951, won by the Ottawa Roughriders. There's Hugh Campbell, Rick Campbell's father. Ronnie Lancaster when Saskatchewan won, and George Reed enjoying the champagne. Ottawa won in '69. Pierre-Elliott Trudeau handing it to Russ Jackson, and then of course the catch. Clemens to Gabriel, 1976. Last time that a Grey Cup had come to this city, until last year, of course, when Henry Burris, who's with James Duffy here today in our panel, ended that long drought. The city celebrated with that dramatic, exciting overtime win at BMO Field in Toronto over the Calgary Stampeders. Back and forth goes Marcus Thigpen. Marcus Thigpen made a whole lot of something out of a whole lot of nothing there.
They got the Ottawa defense crashing down on the left side, and that allowed Thigpen an opportunity to bounce it to the outside. Move those sticks. Saskatchewan in recent weeks had been able to dress 2 American running backs. They weren't going to have that luxury this week because they're starting 3 Americans on the offensive line, so they lose another American at a skill position. So they went with what Chris Jones said was the healthiest of the American RBs.
Kevin Glenn lost the grip. By the way, Marcus Thigpen been a good choice for Chris Jones. 4 carries, 37 yards so far. On the sideline now. Let's just see what happened here on this toss from Glenn.
Kevin Glenn looked like he kind of second-guessed on that one, but couldn't pull it back in time. Ball slipping out of his hand, creating this 2nd and 10 situation.
Talked about Glenn and all the teams he's been with. Has at one time or another been part of every organization in the CFL except for the Edmonton Eskimos. Sends everybody out here. Glenn now tossing right side. Has Naaman Roosevelt. Naaman Roosevelt has another first down up near the Saskatchewan 48-yard line.
Naaman Roosevelt lined up out wide on this one. Now, one of the things that's been talked about a lot with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and obviously the quarterback situation, you know, the discussion has been largely when the opposition gets pressure, if it creates issues for Kevin Glenn with a strong pass rush, that they get the more mobile Brandon Bridge back there. But if Kevin Glenn is given time, as you just saw, he'll pick a team apart.
Glenn shakes off a sack and the juggling act and a fumble. They're saying incomplete. Kevin Glenn looked like it was dead in the backfield. Then Chad Owens had a little Cirque du Soleil. Antoine Pruneau thought this was a fumble. No, he did not have the football.
Okay, you can see that ball had a little wobble on it coming in, and Chad Owens had trouble handling it and was never really able to secure that one on his way down.
Chad Owens, who had one of the greatest catches in CFL recent history here, playing for Toronto when Trevor Harris was a quarterback. Glenn now moves the pocket against the grain. First down again in the shadows. Finds Bakari Grant.
Well, once again, you see Kevin Glenn, 3-man rush. So he's getting some time back there. And Kevin Glenn, with that kind of time, veteran quarterback, he's going to find somebody. This time it's Bakari Grant.
This is a Saskatchewan O-line that has surrendered a lot of sacks. Second last in the CFL and allowing sacks. Look at the second down conversion numbers. Outstanding so far. Here comes that blitz. They keep it on the turf. Big Pen once more. Into Ottawa territory, down near the 45. A 5-yard pickup for former Indiana Hoosier Marcus Thigpen.
From an Ottawa point of view now, as you see Saskatchewan marching with the football, we've talked about Kevin Glenn, his ability to go to work as long as he gets protection. I think Ottawa has been very conservative, and I would argue too conservative in terms of how aggressive they are in the pass rush. Their last Saskatchewan possession of the first quarter, they got after Glenn and forced Saskatchewan to punt the ball.
Glenn, perfect spiral. Chad Owens knocked down out of bounds. The REDBLACKS celebrate, sprinting through the Saskatchewan bench. Looks like Owens is banged up on that sideline. Guy who missed most of the season with injury. This was a well-thrown football by Glenn.
Yeah, long throw though, getting out to that wide side. He had to put some air under it. And that allows Corey Tyndall, back from that earlier injury, time to close as you see the space that he gained on Chad Owens to come and make a play on that ball.
So the Saskatchewan field goal unit is out. This would be the longest of the season for Tyler Krapinja. "52 yards. If you miss though, it's a fake. It's a fake. They line up behind center. Vernon Adams trying to get them to bite. Might have to take a timeout or do something. And so they'll move it back.
Procedure. Saskatchewan, number 3. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
And clearly what they were trying to do, they tried the field goal formation, looked at that, and then Adams' cadence was trying to make Ottawa jump so they get a 5-yard penalty.
A lot of movement over there. You know, we talked in the opening about the familiarity between these two teams. They recognize each other's creativity. that I'm not sure that either one of these head coaches is going to catch the other off guard with a fake or anything of the sort this week.
Yeah, this is a great chess match here. So now Bartel comes out, 2 returners back. So again, that drop kick. Josh Stangby makes one miss and then is pushed out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Getting close to the midway point of the second quarter in a 6-point ball game. And so far, Deontay's Inferno blazing today. Spencer putting up some big numbers in the East Division semifinal. The CFL playoffs on TSN are brought to you by BDC, the only bank exclusively devoted to entrepreneurs. Back at TD Place Stadium, Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. Red Blacks, another home game. Last couple of years, it's been the East Final. Now to get back to Ottawa, they got to go through their own town. Grey Cup in a couple weeks. Not much gain there. Preston Butler makes that tackle. We maybe have a 4-yard pickup. Catch by Kreiner. Ron Kreiner missed a lot of action this year as well. They get healthy, but just as they get healthy in some positions, they also lose players. And another player down. This would be a blow. Greg Ellingson. Ellingson, who has so many clutch catches through his time. And here's a guy who also knows what it's like to play in Grey Cup games, does he not?
Well, yeah, unique situation for Greg Ellingson, although he didn't play in the games his first couple of years in Hamilton. Greg Ellingson's, the teams he's been on have been to the Grey Cup each of his first 4 years in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, Greg Ellingson looked like he planted the wrong way, and that looks like the right knee may have jarred that. Looked like he was in immediate pain, and so you lose Greg Ellingson in this lineup right now. You lose a valuable piece.
Well, you certainly do.
All the receiving records that Ellingson has put his name on the list. Most catches, 96 this year. He's going to the sideline, and he's not limping noticeably, so that could be a good sign. We'll try to get an update from Matthew Shinetti.
Oh, keep an eye on that. Ottawa, fortunately, got Josh Stangby back off the injured list this week. So they have him already in the ball game. Dominic Rhymes dressed as well, so he'll replace Ellingson at this point.
2nd and 6, deep drop, and this was almost picked. Looking for Jake Hardy, and that was a dangerous toss as they were bringing the house. And Derek Moncrief, had he been able to grab that, he might have taken it to the end zone for a pick 6.
Yeah, Trevor Harris just looking for a quick hitter here with a Guavin and Leonard in his face.
First 2 and out in this ball game. Defense is now starting to settle in after the early explosions offensively. That first explosion was sounded, of course, by that guy, Bakari Grant. First year in Saskatchewan. First touch of the ball game takes it to the end zone. This 14-8 game at the East semifinal. Saskatchewan team that was humbled last season. Dismal year in Regina, but this year the plethora of receivers. These 3 guys going over 1,000 yards each.
And you look at the balance between those 3 in terms of the yardage, only 10 yards separating them. Terrific trio, and of course, you know, you've got the depth in Caleb Hawley, who's not dressed today, and of course Chad Owens.
Trying to turn it back upfield. Jerron Carter. It's his 2nd catch of the game. Once again, Corey Tyndall out watching him. I have a feeling you're not going to see Duron Carter going two ways today. But you never know with Chris Jones.
You never know. Chris Jones, of course, making the suggestion that Carter could be a better DB than he is a receiver, but we all know how important a weapon he is to this Saskatchewan Roughrider offense. Ottawa knows it as well, as he torched them a few weeks back.
See what the spot is. This looks like it could be close to a first down. So France crashed forward. It's going to be a first down, it looks like. Let's see what the spot is. It is. Fresh set of downs. Right into Ottawa territory. Saskatchewan tries to build a cushion here. 2 games in October in 2 weeks between these teams. Saskatchewan came back from a 17-0 deficit to win 18-17. Ottawa came back down 12 to win. Glenn goes over the top, and now it's a foot race. Bakari Grant down the sideline. Number 81 gets loose again. 44 yards for Bakari Grant. Right inside that red zone once more.
You're going to see Bakari Grant work his way all the way across the field underneath here, and Kevin Glenn is just buying time, putting his faith in his veteran guy. Former Hamilton Tiger Cat and Calgary Stampeder, Bakari Grant. The big catch.
I'll leave it on the ground once more. And to the end zone is Thigpen, but not getting there. Stopped a yard and a half shy. They're going to mark it. Looks like near the 2-yard line, so it will be 2nd and goal.
Yeah, the sweep looked like it's supposed to go up inside. You'll see the offensive lineman ducks up inside, but it was happening a little bit too slowly for the speedster Thigpen. He tried to make the cut outside, but without the convoy, he gets knocked out of bounds.
Late substitution for Ottawa. Arnaud Gascon-Nadon gets to the line. Vernon Adams in behind center. Adams booting it and gets stood up. Hammered down. Jonathan Rose and Kevin Brown in on the hit. So it'll be 3rd and goal. Vernon Adams looked like he had a glimmer of daylight.
Yeah,
he was snuffed out.
Sort of getting into full stride, and all of a sudden hit the 2-man wall. It looked like Brown made first contact. Rose, as you said, in there as well.
Adams stays in, empties the backfield, trying to get to the end zone, and he looks like he does. It is a touchdown. Second effort from Vernon Adams. His 4th rushing touchdown of 2017. Just has to break the plane with the nose of the football. Clearly did that. Clearly a touchdown. And Saskatchewan opens up its biggest lead. 6 plays, 62 yards, covered 2 minutes and 51 seconds.
Just an impressive and relentless performance from the Saskatchewan Roughriders offensively here thus far.
Trepigna again puts 21 on the board now, and a Saskatchewan team that, by the way, they packed for an extended road trip here.
Yeah, one of the things that they kind of feel is to be successful as a crossover team when you're coming across time zones and so on is you don't want to be going back and forth. And so they're in the East playoffs. The Grey Cup is in the East. That they've kind of said, we're packing our bags, expecting to be on the road for 3 straight games.
Bakari Grant's done a lot, but it's really been Kevin Glenn, KG, who is really one of the quarterbacks now, is one of the OGs, the old guys. But He doesn't mind that as well. He says that experience that he's had through the years. And by the way, has no problem, no qualms with that so-called quarterback controversy.
Well, any kind of quarterback controversy from any angle, from any side of it. Kevin Glenn's been there and done that.
A few times.
You know, and I mean, frankly, as a veteran guy, particularly with the two guys he's with, and Brandon Bridge and Vernon Adams, Kevin Glenn embraces the mentor relationship. This was a role he had with the same two young guys to start last season, 2016. The three of them were together in Montreal, and the young guys were trying to absorb as much knowledge as they could from Kevin Glenn. That's continued since the threesome moved to Saskatchewan.
Deontay Spencer trying to create a spark near the 29-yard line. Coming up at the half. 4 minutes and 11 seconds. There he is. Henry Burris, GMC professional grade playbook on the keys to winning an Eastern semifinal.
Oh, we see Hank over there. Duffy, I'm sure, is all bundled up in blankets and parkas. Got the heaters going in the tent.
Smiling Hank. What a novel he wrote last year with a perfect ending for the people here in Ottawa. What a way to go out. We'll hear from Hank at the half. William Powell, first down, his best run of the day. Good news is Greg Ellingson.
Greg Ellingson is back on the field with that Ottawa offense. To me, really not looking like he's 100%, though. Still looks like he's kind of hobbling out there. Maybe a little bit of the feeling, though, is that if Greg Ellingson can sell it enough, it becomes a pretty valuable decoy, perhaps.
Hand it off again. They'll keep it on the ground. Little daylight here for William Powell. Pinballs off a rider up near the 50-yard line. 15-yard gain for William Powell.
A terrific job getting this one blocked up. Nice cutback, just narrowly escaping AC Leonard. And here you see Greg Ellingson. To me, it looks like there's a definite limp there still. And just after that, just as the clip ended, he kind of signaled to the sidelines.
They're going to rely more on this guy. Deontay Spencer, close to the first down marker. Inside the 3-minute warning. So they'll signal the 3-minute warning to the benches before halftime. Here in the East Division semifinal, the crossover team from the West leads the way. The Riders riding 21-8.
First ever CFL playoff game with touchdowns scored in the first 3 possessions. Coming up, the guys with their thoughts on that explosive first half, including an interesting defensive play as well that was significant. We'll hear from James Guthrie and Henry Burris as well.
Things have cooled a little bit since then as Ryan Lindley gets the first down. And there's a fumbled football. And the Riders say they might have it. And the officials say they do have it. Lindley coughed up the football. Saskatchewan's Mike Edom has it in his mitts on what looked like a routine play. Disbelief here in Ottawa. Second turnover already by the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
I love you, Alex.
This time backup quarterback Ryan Lindley.
Well, you watch on the outside. I believe that's Derek Moncrief, the nickel linebacker. Comes off the edge, gets that shoulder right on the ball with that hit and pops it out.
Big break here for Glenn. Fires a dart.
Yeah, get him. 2, 3, 4. That's all him. Get him.
Second turnover, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery.
And there you saw the hit. Mike Edom, the free safety, comes in to clean up, but Derek Moncrief with the forced fumble. Second turnover of the game for the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
Last reception from Josh Stanford. There's a pitch to Thigpen. Marcus Thigpen dragged down by Taylor Reed. Minimal gain. Looks like a throwing down again for the Riders.
You mentioned Josh Stanford making the catch. He'll get some action in certain packages as they balance the ratio, as he'll come in for one of the American receivers in order to get Marcus Thigpen in the game at running back at times. Then obviously the switch going the other way, an American receiver in with Keenan LaFrance, the Canadian running back.
Glenn backpedals, now looks out of the backfield and out of the grasp of Keenan LaFrance. And a rarity now. The Riders drive stalling here after that turnover. With a minute 37 to go, Ottawa gets the ball back before halftime. France knows he should have had it.
Yeah, you can see that's one he'd love to have back. Kevin Glenn put it on the money.
Sun beaming here. Cloudless day in Ottawa. Playoff football is here. Best time of the year after 5 months and 20 weeks of regular season play. Bartel. This is angled perfectly at the sideline. Spencer trying to spring himself, but he can't. And it is playoff football coming up. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup after this. Mike Riley and the Eskimos against Matt Nichols, Andrew Harris and the Blue Bombers. 4 Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, a little cooler in the peg. First time they get to host a playoff game at Investors Group Field. It should be raucous there. That should be a terrific game.
Yeah, another one that shapes up as a terrific matchup.
Of course, Calgary waits in the wings, so too the Argos, who are watching this game. They will host the winner of this one next week at BMO. Trevor Harris fires one far side. Spencer has it. It is a catch for 16 yards. Deontay Spencer is the focal point of the Ottawa offense in this first half.
Yeah, that'll put Deontay Spencer up around 125 yards receiving for the game already. He may have to take on an even bigger load with Greg Ellingson, clearly at less than 100%.
Oh, could have been another pick. Stangby wanted an interference call. Casey Rogers right there. Let's go down to Matt Chinetti with an injury update.
Yeah, boys, you've been mentioning Greg Ellingson not looking 100%. He has been gesturing to the sidelines, as you've mentioned, Dwayne, over the last few plays. And after that last one, when Stangby just came in, Ellingson looked at the sideline, shook his head, and made the substitution motion to the sideline. So it doesn't look good for him right now. He's just on the sidelines, guys.
Yeah, look of disgust as he took that chin strap off. Guy who wants to play every down. Harris now has Kreiner, can't make the grab. Penalty flag flew though. See what the call is.
Yeah, it looked like Kreiner may have lost sight of this ball momentarily. A little trouble tracking it, and then had to try to make the circus-like adjustment right at the end.
Offside, Saskatchewan, number 77. It's a 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So a redo and 5 yards as Kreiner got twisted up. Rakeem Cox and a Villanova offside. That would have been some catch. Time ticks away here in this first half. Red Blacks trying to make it close before halftime. Slant pattern. Squeezed there by you-know-who. So basically the play right now is Deontay Spencer out pattern, Deontay Spencer slant pattern, Deontay Spencer fly pattern.
Yeah, but the problem is Samuel Aguavin knows it. As you saw the linebacker, who already has a pick in this game, rushing out there to help out.
Harris again. Crossing pattern for Dominic Rhymes. Saskatchewan D coming up big here.
Yeah, so we expect to see a lot more of Dominic Rhymes with the absence of Greg Ellingson. from that offense. This is a guy who, because of the injuries they've had, this is a guy who actually got a lot of playing time in the second half of the season. Josh Stangby down for a stretch, Jerron Kreiner down for a while. Certainly brings some size to the mix.
Cluster formation on the left. He goes to the right. Loaded it up left side on second down. And incomplete. REDBLACKS looking for an interference call. And just one video challenge to be used, and they have a case here all over him. And will Rick Campbell throw this challenge flag and burn it in the first half, or will he hang on to it? Looks like he's going to keep his team out, or he's waiting to hear from up top. No challenge flag. We'll hold it. Brett Maher. Jones, 15-yard line. 45 to go as he's pasted down near the 18. Saskatchewan Roughriders looking good here in this first half. The Ottawa team that again has only played a game in a month. Couple of byes down the stretch. Got off to a good start, but have really flatlined in this second quarter.
Yeah, just taking another look at that play. Looks like a bit of a grab, certainly, from Javon Johnson.
Would you have been tempted to throw that flag?
Well, I think there's a temptation. I'm just trying to look at the yardage as well, though, and judging how close they're going to be to a first down if they get that. I know ideally in the last minute of the half, you're trying to keep possession of the ball and trying to put some points up on the board before the break, and that's where my temptation to throw that flag and try and keep the drive alive would come from. I think the temptation from a coaching point of view is that there may be a bigger play with 30 minutes still left in this ball game.
In a playoff game.
Yeah.
So Rick Campbell may have to use that down the road, but two teams that have notoriously this season been separated by a crowbar, really been so close. Really the last 5 times they've played, single point or 2-point ball games. Right now it's a good lead for the Roughriders, who try to extend it. 20 seconds to go. They'll keep it conservative, though. Thick pen now. 15 seconds. One toss. Can you get it into field goal range, or are you happy with this lead right now on the road as a crossover in enemy territory and owning a 21-8 lead? Or do you take a shot and try to bring out Krapina?
You got to believe Chris Jones has a little bit of gambler in him, don't you?
No, maybe not. Yeah, I would think so. Would not want to play poker with any of these coaches, by the way. CJ's going to the locker room with the lead. 21-8, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Pair of turnovers doing in the Ottawa REDBLACKS. But what a start to this one in the Eastern semifinal. Let's head it down to James Duthie and Henry Burris.
Yes, with the reigning Grey Cup MVP, don't forget Rod Smith and the panel are just ahead. One way to quiet all the talk about the controversy of 2 quarterbacks in Saskatchewan is don't give your coach a second thought about going to the other guy. How good was Kevin Glenn, and how was he so effective?
You know what? His offensive coordinator, Jerry Jackson, has done a great job of getting him in rhythm early. Lots of quick passes to get the ball out of his hands, and it all started on that first drive. You saw Kevin Glenn getting rid of the ball nice and quick. They were able to establish the running game, which led to this quick slant off the play action opposite. And now he was able to come back with the time he had to find Bakari Grant underneath. Bakari Grant found ways to break tackles to get into the end zone, but we talked about it. He needed to get off to a good start, and then running plays that gave him the time to sit in the pocket to get him comfortable led to the big plays that he's making now under pressure, hitting Bakari Grant for a big one that led to their last touchdown there in the second quarter.
We don't award the TSN Turning Point copyright at halftime, but if you did, it would be that Trevor Harris pick down near the goal line. Was it the quality of the throw, the timing of the throw, or both?
A little bit of both, because I know Matt Duncan, he can allude to this also. But one thing is at quarterback, when you throw an out route, you don't want to be late, and you definitely don't want to throw behind him. So as I mentioned those two, let's look at this play. Here Trevor Harris is, as he's coming out of the break, he's letting the ball go, which allowed the defender to break on it. But what's even worse than that, watch the ball location. Watch the ball location. He's out of the break, his head is out, the ball's now out of his hands. Now look at the ball location. interception, throws it behind defender. It's right in his face. That's what happens every time when you throw it late and you throw it behind.
And we'll have to watch that Greg Ellingson injury. Deontay Spencer might have to have another 500 total yard game like he did against Hamilton if Ottawa's going to come out and get their shot against Toronto. Again, Rod Smith in the panel just ahead here at halftime from Ottawa.
So let the playoffs begin, everybody. Go time for the East Division semifinal. Over the top, and he has Grant. Down near the 5, he's scoring. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. Harris now has his man, and it is a touchdown for Deontay Spencer. Buckle up. The shootout has begun in the East semifinal.
Of offense in this game, 4 touchdowns already for every TD scored in this one, and the rest of the way, Safeway and Sobeys are proud to donate $250 to Special Olympics Canada. Halftime, Riders lead it by 13. Here's Jock with the stats.
Well, you know, the Red Blacks are all about time of possession and controlling the football, keeping the offense off the field. Not so in this ball game. Look at the comparison here, 11:53 to 18, and then the turnovers. I mean, we had the Lindley fumble, we had the interception, and that's the tail of the tape in the first half.
Bakari Grant, 3 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Here he is with Matthew Shinetti.
Well, Bakari, you have 3 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. What is working so well for your offense? What are you exploiting right now?
We just got too many weapons. I mean, we got someone like Dave Penn in the backfield. We got Chad, Naaman, Duran, people all over the field. So it's tough to stop us, and whoever they let get open, that's who we're going to take advantage of.
Maybe you, more than anyone else in this team, knows the experience and the value of Kevin Glenn in a playoff situation. You guys are the crossover team on the road. What does his experience do for your sideline?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, when you've seen so many defenses, it's hard to give him something that he can't see or he can't handle. He's getting rid of the ball quick and pressure, and when they give us man-to-man, he's taking advantage. So, I mean, his experience is unmatched right now.
Thanks, PG.
Yep, no problem, man.
Is Greg Ellingson done for the day? Well, at this point, doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look too bad, but I want to see him cut. It's not about running straight ahead.
Done in the first half. I didn't see anything.
Still without a catch.
He'll give it a shot.
I think he'll give it a shot.
He'll give it a shot.
Yeah, have to.
Second half coming up.
Back at TD Place Stadium in Ottawa, where the Red Blacks trail the Saskatchewan Roughriders 21-8 and could be missing one of their key weapons in their offense. Here's Matthew Shinetti with Ottawa head coach Rick Campbell.
Rick, obviously I know the scoreline is your first concern. We just saw Greg Ellingson come out, test out some running. What's his status right now?
He's going to give it a go, so I think he'll be good to go, and he'll be playing here at the start of the second half.
In terms of what you have to do to adjust what their defense is doing, how do you open up the offense in the second half?
Yeah, I know. We need to make sure we take care of the ball. We turned it over twice and it going in, so we need to make sure we take care of it. We need to be aggressive, and there's a lot of time left. It's a long game, and we need to come out flying.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, thanks.
Rick Campbell talked to us yesterday about consistency and finishing, and this is so important to have this guy in the lineup. The question is, how much of a percentage of health do you have in Greg Ellingson right now?
Yeah, and admittedly, if you can get Greg Ellingson at 80 or 90%, that's still a pretty good receiver.
I take that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you get into a situation as we saw late in that first half where he's limited in terms of both his speed and his ability to change direction, then I think you give up the experience and the threat that Greg Ellingson provides and go with a healthy Dominique Grimes or whoever it may be.
Greg Ellingson, no catches. That guy right there did everything for Ottawa offensively, Deontay Spencer. Will he get the football here to start the second half in the East semifinal? From the 15, up near the 25. Bursting forward up near the 40-yard line. So Trevor Harris, 2 big blemishes for the Ottawa Red Blacks in that first half. Really the difference in the ball game. That interception by Samuel Aguavin, and of course the fumble by Ryan Lindley. Did some good stuff though.
Yeah, most of the good stuff ended up in the hands of number 85, Deontay Spencer. But as you mentioned, the interception by Aguavin, and maybe fortunate to avoid at least another. We got to settle back in and get into rhythm here.
Establishing that ground game, William Powell. Has another touch here. It's like another throwing down for the Red Blacks. It's like a 3-yard gain here. Those are the numbers for Harris. 12 of 19, 164. The 31-year-old young quarterback from Waldo, Ohio. Wants to empty out the backfield and will go chucking here. Far sideline, dangerous pass, and way short of a first down. He found Powell, Enoch Mwamba, former #1 draft pick of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Mwamba's had a good season in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Mwamba's been terrific, the Canadian. Former St. FX product in Mississauga, Ontario.
Brett Maher is going to launch here from his 35. Booming kick. Christian Jones back near his 10. Little shake. And the ball's down. Ottawa has it. Penalty flag also down, though. Hold on. Will this be Ottawa football? Cedarius Bryant has the ball. Penalty on the play. This could be a huge break for the REDBLACKS.
On the return, illegal block, Saskatchewan, number 17. A penalties decline. Result of the play, fumble, first down, Ottawa.
And the guy who was #1 in special teams tackles in the CFL this season, Keelan Johnson, was the stripper.
Yeah, Keelan Johnson's been a monster on teams all season long, as has Cedarius Bryant. The two of them team up to create a turnover deep in Saskatchewan territory.
Harris, sidearm. Couple yards for Jerron Kreiner. So now into that red zone again. And this REDBLACK team trying to capitalize on this special teams turnover.
And there you saw Johnson coming from behind to pull that one out on the tackle. And the reaction from Chris Jones on that Rider sideline.
REDBLACK's only previous trip to the red zone inside the 20 resulted in an interception. Harris audibles. Pumps. Shovel pass. It's incomplete. It's a lack of execution this time offensively from Ottawa. Now we'll bring out their kick team.
A different kind of shovel look this time. And just ended up Willie Jefferson. Found himself in that passing lane. Fortunately, that one didn't end up with something worse than an incompletion for Ottawa.
So the REDBLACKS with Brett Maher coming out. 82% this season. Last year an East Division All-Star with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Came back to Ottawa this year. So the REDBLACKS get 3 points after that turnover. Cut the lead to 10. But it's been the Kevin Glenn show so far for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Trying to punch a ticket to Toronto next week.
Well, Kevin Glenn had a torrent first half at the helm of the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense, distributing the ball around to his many weapons. Saw him hook up with Duron Carter, Naaman Roosevelt, Bakari Grant, all three of his 1,000-yard receivers. Marcus Thigpen and Keenan LaFrance chipping in out of that backfield. En route to that 21-8 halftime lead.
38-year-old out of Detroit, Michigan. Good run here. A roll by Thigpen. Daylight. Green light. Could take it to the house. He will. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. Marcus Thigpen. 75 yards of magic.
This is the thing that has always stood out about Marcus Thigpen. Whether he's been doing it on offense or whether he's been doing it on special teams. absolutely one of the fastest guys on the football field with the ball in his hands. And the Ottawa REDBLACKS just found out the hard way.
Marcus Thigpen, signed in September. Again, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, all he did whenever he touched the football was score. Went to the National Football League. Crapigna converts again, and Saskatchewan answers more Ottawa momentum by snuffing it out again. And the thing about that last run, he was untouched, Marcus Thigpen.
Yeah, beautifully blocked at the line of scrimmage. Got a little bit of help the rest of the way down the field as well. Here you'll see big cutback lane. You see Naaman Roosevelt gets his guy on the ground. That creates plenty of room for the speedster Thigpen. Now has 9 carries for $133. There's the block by Naaman Roosevelt. Marcus Thigpen cuts off of that one and takes it to the house. You know, Duron Carter joked with us yesterday that they have a saying amongst the receivers that Bakari blocks so the rest of us don't have to.
Yes. Well,
but Naaman Roosevelt definitely doing his part.
Part of the block party here in Ottawa today. And the Roughriders rolling now, a 17-point advantage.
No, my kids, I love y'all.
That was Detroit. Kevin Glenn handing it off to Marcus Thigpen. The guy from the Motor City just motored for 75 big yards. Josh Stangby. Brought down by the ankle, so now the adversity intensifies for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, and Trevor Harris, the pressure on to answer again. Normally stout Ottawa REDBLACK defense has been kind of taken apart here today by Saskatchewan offense.
You know, as they get in a little bit of a hole and try to become more aggressive, we talked about them needing to get after Kevin Glenn more. It's going to create opportunities elsewhere.
Greg Ellingson, and they're saying that ball is picked.
That's this way.
Saskatchewan saying they took this ball away from Greg Ellingson. The officials are saying it is Ottawa football. Let's take a look here. Might have been a pickpocket here. Ellingson makes the catch and is down. Javon Johnson tried to sell that to no avail. It's Ottawa football. Averting disaster again. Ellingson's first catch of the game. Harris now with time, goes deep, has his man, but overthrows Deontay Spencer. And Spencer had about 4 steps on the Saskatchewan defender.
Yeah, out wide, you see that press coverage. He's going to get a release move and try and work his way to the inside. Just a little stutter step. Try to use that quickness in space against the bigger defender, Casey Rogers. Just slightly overthrown.
Second down and 10 from their 40-yard line. Saskatchewan leads 28-11 in the East semifinal. Harris guns, middle, juggled, and caught. And a first down, Ottawa into Saskatchewan territory. And this is what Greg Ellingson does.
Yeah, you're going to see him gutting it out and limping the whole way here. But watch this route. Gets the defender at Gainey turned around as he sells it. He's going left. Gets the defender to flip his hips and then turns it out to the right. Finds himself wide open.
You said it, gutting it out. Ellingson limping on almost every play. They need him. Stood up and put down. Darius Butler, 5-yard pickup. Big tackle there from Butler as Jake Hardy slow to get up after that. So he was kind of pile driven by Preston Butler. injury on the field. We'll step aside and come back to Ottawa as the East Division semifinal continues on TSN. Well, they're falling like dominoes now, the Ottawa REDBLACKS. First it was Greg Ellingson, who, fortunately for the REDBLACKS, is back in, but Jake Hardy is getting some help getting to the sideline.
Yeah, Jake Hardy, who has stepped into Brad Sinopoly's starting spot in that receiving core, as he's assisted off the field. Likely means we'll see a little bit more of Patrick Lavoie, the fullback, playing out of the slot.
High point catch. Jerron Kreiner with a clutch grab. Snagging it, bringing it down to the 25-yard line.
And this is kind of classic. Jerron Kreiner using his size, getting that inside position on the defender. You know, I know John Climby talked about Kreiner's route on the interception. He didn't use his leverage all that well or create leverage.
Ellingson continuing to grind. Will move the sticks once more inside that red zone area. The REDBLACKS try to score here.
Well, as I said, Greg Ellingson at 85 or 90%. Still a pretty productive receiver, a tough guy to cover. Made some plays here for the REDBLACKS in the third quarter.
Did not have a catch in the first half, 3 now in the third. REDBLACKS know, though, even with a lot of time left midway through the third, they've got to score. Harris is sacked. First sack of the ball game. Team sack this time. Eddie Steele. Looks like they got very close to the grill of Trevor Harris. No, it was clean sack.
Yeah, that combination. Couple former Eskimos. Guys that Chris Jones had with him in Edmonton when they won a Grey Cup, and Eddie Steele and Willie Jefferson.
Second and long. Have to get down inside the 5. Harris rears back and throws. Should have been picked off. Ed Gainey, who led the CFL in interceptions this year with 10, may have had one of his easiest.
I was going to say, if there's one guy in the league who you were sure was going to pick off that football, it would be the league leader, Ed Gainey, Saskatchewan's nominee as most outstanding defensive player. Ball a little bit underthrown as Kreiner was in behind the defensive halfback.
Brent Maher trying to chip away again and whittle away at this lead. Kick is up and it is through. 28-14 now. Saskatchewan Roughriders.
How you doing, sir? Matt. Tim, nice to meet you.
Hey, come on. It's not that cold. Teddy is too good to play duck, duck, goose with his defensive lineman.
Been a good run. Oh, man. Been a good run.
CFL wired up Wednesday, 7:30, 4:30 Pacific. Saskatchewan's ball again. Kevin Glenn operating once more. Jerron Carter can't go down. And that's swagger.
Hey, did you see how quickly the official got there when he got near that Ottawa sideline?
Yes. Well, again, if you did not know the history, Jerron Carter and Rick Campbell, of course, back in Montreal. Jerron bumped the Ottawa head coach. Jerron Carter is a fascinating character. And certainly one of the most talented, if not the most talented player in the league. Son of a Hall of Famer. Guy who talks trash, talks it, but walks it, and usually catches it.
Yeah, I mean, I will label Jerron Carter as the most misunderstood guy in the Canadian Football League, honestly.
And maybe one of the smartest.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy who, by his own admission, has made some mistakes along the way, has made some bad decisions.
Not some of the smartest moves.
But this is a very sharp guy, and I think a big part of his fit with Saskatchewan this year, honestly, is the fact that Chris Jones has let Jerron Carter be Duron Carter, who's a guy who just has a lot of fun playing the game.
Key third down and 1 yard. Vernon Adams is in here. And Adams isn't going to get it. We'll have to see what the spot is. You have to get to the 30, make that the 45-yard line. And I don't think he got it. That initial push. Saskatchewan thinks he got it. Ottawa says no. We'll look at the spot. It is a Rough Rider first down. From this vantage point, that initial surge, again, the 45-yard line is where he had to go.
66! And if he got it, he just got it right here.
Right there. So Saskatchewan keeps this drive going. 4.5 to go in the third quarter. Hand it off once more. Here he goes again. Marcus Thigpen having a day to remember.
Hey, good run, Thiggy.
Hasn't played a lot of games for the Rough Riders in a carousel of running backs. May have had one of the most important touchdowns in quite some time in green and white.
A big one in terms of the momentum of this ball game. Ottawa maybe showing signs of life after putting some points up after collecting a fumble recovery in Rider territory. They got that field goal, and Thigpen, very next offensive place for Saskatchewan, answers with that touchdown run.
On Ottawa's side of the field. Quick hitter. And they are saying that's a catch. No, they're saying it's not a catch now. Kim Murphy's coming in and just gave it the incomplete sign, gave it an overruling. So the officials will talk this over. Roosevelt thought he had it.
And we'll take a closer look.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete forward pass.
Yeah, I think, the way that ball turns from sort of horizontal to vertical is right where it strikes the ground. Trap that one.
Would have had to have his hands underneath, or at least one hand completely underneath the ball. So another crucial second down conversion for the Ottawa defense. Trying to fight back. The two-possession ball game. Glenn, deep drop. And he wings it out, far sideline, and stopped before the first down. Keenan LaFrance by his former teammate, Corey Tyndall. So this will bring out the kick team.
Ottawa did a good job defending this play. As the idea and the pattern of LaFrance getting out to the flat is to try and pull coverage out wide, open some things up in the middle. Ottawa seemed to kind of sit on the middle a little bit, recognizing that on a throw to the wide side flat, you're going to have time to react and get there and make a play. They made sure they took away the receivers inside, and then when Glenn settled for that check down, they reacted while the ball was in the air and got out there to make the tackle.
Ottawa hasn't had enough big plays today. They need one. Bartel, maybe from this guy. Not this time. Corralled at the 13, long field for Trevor Harris with 2:15 to go in the third quarter. The Saskatchewan Roughriders leading. The REDBLACKS' main weapon has been this guy tonight. They'll need more from Deontay Spencer in the East semifinal. The playoff edition of CFL Fantasy Football presented by AFG is here. Visit cflfantasy.tsn.ca to pick your team of 6 players and a defense to start competing today, presented by AGF. So, the Ottawa REDBLACKS, Deontay Spencer kind of having a fantasy first half. Have an awfully long way to go here. Rick Campbell's team, pair of field goals in the red zone. That's not good enough. Unable to score an offensive touchdown in the red zone. unable to capitalize. Battle of turnovers, this battle of East and West today in the East semifinal. This is a guy who is a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, so many ways Deontay Spencer can hurt you. You know, in an era where teams with the larger rosters and so on have tried to go away from having your primary returner be a guy who plays a huge role on offense. You almost have guys who are one or the other, play spots on offense or defense. Deontay Spencer does it all. Bit of a throwback.
They need to get him involved in a serious way. Harris, far sideline. And was looking for Kreiner, who's got kind of tangled up, slipped on that far sideline, and so now it's third down, and they're going to have to kick. And the Riders are going to get good field position here.
Keep an eye on Rakeem Cox. Lines up on the edge. He's exchanged with his defensive end, AC Leonard, on this one. Comes around the corner to get a piece of Trevor Harris.
There is Brett Maher's boot, which has to be a good one. And look who's back, Chad Owens. And a reverse here. And Christian Jones has some running room. Jones down to the 40, to the 35, inside the 30-yard line to the 25. And some razzle-dazzle on the return as Chad Owens comes out to return. Pitches it off to Christian Jones. Instant field position, instant scoring position for the Riders.
Yeah, mixing it up with the two returner look here. There's 1 point. Watch Jeff Heck, 24. He couldn't get a clean redirect to get a clean shot at Patrick Lavoie, the first man, 81, that he passed. Lavoie may have ended up slowing down that play just enough to prevent it from going even longer. Watch 24 Heck. He'll appear on the left edge of your screen.
Christian Jones gives Kevin Glenn good field position. 5-yard pass to Naaman Roosevelt. Taylor on the tackle. 40 seconds and counting here in the third quarter, and the Riders are going to have a lead heading into the fourth. This season, during the regular season, they were 8-1. Good finishers when they lead after 3 quarters. Up 2 scores here. Glenn again. Oh, big hit. This is going to bring out the field goal unit for Saskatchewan. LaFrance was wrapped up, stood up, and knocked down by Kevin Brown.
Another quick hitter out to the flat. But Brown, the weak side linebacker, tracking it all the way.
So Christian Jones return. He's going to be able to put a few more points on the board. Tyler Krapina. The final play, looking to the sideline. They had a personnel issue. They had to go. They're going to go 5 yards back here.
Time violation. Saskatchewan, number 18. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Rakeem Cox came on at the last moment. So 5 yards back. Still a good distance for Krapina. Pretty much from convert range near the 32, which he has not missed from all season. And the final play of the third quarter, and he won't miss from here. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are 15 minutes away from staying out east and going to Toronto next week for the East Final. It's a 3-possession game now. 31-14, Saskatchewan in the nation's capital. Roughriders are riding right now and could be in Toronto next week at BMO Field if they can hang on. 31-14. Looking comfortable right now, and I guess that's the word. The main word is comfortable. for Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, Kevin Glenn has been terrific. The talk coming into this ball game was, would Kevin Glenn go the distance? Will we see Brandon Bridge? And the suggestion being, how well will Kevin Glenn and the offensive line as well respond to the pressure from the Ottawa defense? Well, Kevin Glenn has been terrific. I think you have to give a lot of credit to Jarius Jackson, his quarterbacks coach, Steve McAdoo, offensive coordinator.
His O-line.
Yeah, I mean, putting Kevin Glenn in a position to be successful, and Glenn, of course, has executed very well.
Keep the dream alive of getting that elusive Grey Cup ring, but we still have 15 minutes to go, and the Red Blacks are going to have to score in bunches here. Talked about the closeness of these two teams, not certainly in geography, but in their games. And by the way, the Kevin Glenn, Brandon Bridge platoon that they've utilized, they never utilized during the Ottawa games.
Well, that's it, right? It became a big thing down the stretch. They played Ottawa twice in the last 6 games. Bridge did not see action in either of the 2 games against Ottawa.
Greg Ellingson still limping around out here, still catching footballs, still trying to do something. We talked about how close these teams have played, and he's in some serious pain, playing through it. This one not close right now. Saskatchewan dominating. They bring the house. Harris has to step up now, and out of the backfield, Trevor Harris had some running room if he wanted it. Tried to dish it off. And now it's 2nd and 10.
You're going to see things close down. Jeff Knox right up the middle. First man providing pressure. Harris able to step up, but unable to find an open receiver.
Trevor Harris, who told us yesterday this is just another game. Doesn't matter if it's the playoffs, but his first playoff start right now. Started off strong, not so much lately. Penalty flag down. Dominic Rhymes also down as he was going up high. It's against the Red Blacks, likely decline this.
Offside, Ottawa, number 82. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
You know, as time becomes Ottawa's enemy here in the 4th quarter, and they may need to rely on the big play rather than a time-consuming drive to get back in this ball game. You think about how much of a hit they take.
They're going for it here, 40. 3rd down, you saw Saskatchewan now taking a timeout.
Saskatchewan.
They didn't have the personnel on the field, and Ottawa was going to go after it. 3-down territory already. Did that surprise you a little bit?
Well, it doesn't shock me. I mean, around midfield, again, you consider in this part of the field, limited risk. And again, as I'm saying, time is working against Ottawa at this point. I feel like they need a big play rather than a drive to get back in this one where they're not eating up a lot of the clock. Well, their number 1 big play guy is physically limited by what appears to be a knee injury right now. That, of course, being Greg Ellingson.
Chris Jones not liking the TV time. A little intense on the sideline both times. It's playoff time. 3rd and 10. 4-man rush. Harris going deep. 1-on-1, and it is picked off. Javon Johnson, the former Ottawa Red Black, and that was a poorly thrown football. And I suppose it could serve like a punt for the Ottawa Red Blacks. Javon Johnson could have knocked that down. They would have had better field position. But they'll take the pick. Saskatchewan ball. And they're cruising right now. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the 2017 GMC Sierra Elevation Edition. Get noticed like a pro. Playoff Sunday. Red Blacks trying to get back to the big game, but they have to win this one, then win next week. Memories of Last year's Grey Cup win still fresh in the minds. Conservative play call here and a loss in the backfield. So the defense looking to rise up and make a play here for the Ottawa REDBLACKS.
Adriel Latanzio comes up with a big play here. Slicing through that offensive line.
Filling in for the injured Jake Seresna. Local guy. Played for the Ottawa GGs. Kevin Glenn putting on a performance here today. Slings it in again for Chad Owens. First down up near the 41-yard line. Owens' first catch of this East semifinal.
You'll get a great shot here of the protection being afforded Kevin Glenn. Ottawa, again, with just that three-man rush. You know, the idea being that with 9 men in coverage, there are going to be small windows, but with that kind of time, Kevin Glenn hits that tiny little window to Chad Owens.
Small windows. With great window dressing, though. Great receivers out there as well. And, you know, they look back on this game, should Ottawa lose, and right now it doesn't look good for the REDBLACKS. They could look at the fact they have had very little pressure on Kevin Glenn today.
Yeah, and again, credit the offensive line for the job they've done. Credit the play calling from the Saskatchewan coaching staff. Creating opportunities for Glenn to get the ball out of his hands quickly. I think they've prepared very well based on Ottawa's tendencies, kind of anticipating blitz at certain times where they've taken advantage of that in the run game.
Second and short. Marcus Thigpen. Still a little early to proclaim a TSN turning point, but that touchdown run really took the wind out of the Ottawa REDBLACKS, did it not, by Thigpen?
Yeah, I mean, certainly as far as a turning point here in the second half of this ball game, where it looked like Ottawa might start to get some traction and claw their way back into this one. That one pretty quickly silenced the crowd and took the wind out of the REDBLACKS sails.
157 yards now for Thigpen, 13 carries. Still plenty of time, though. Thigpen goes left side. And unable to bring him down. Poor tackling efforts there. Marcus Thigpen could have been dropped for a loss. Instead, he picks up close to 10.
And you can hear the frustration of the hometown crowd as they recognize that this should have been a stop much closer to the line of scrimmage. And instead, second and very short for the Roughriders. Terrific second effort and third effort by the Rider running back.
Kevin Glenn lunges forward. A Saskatchewan team that began the season very inauspiciously, a 2-4 start. Then they started to gather some steam, finished the season 8-4. 10-8 record. Crossover into the East. Chris Jones trying to do what no team has done before. Crossover all the way to the Grey Cup game. Keep in mind, in these two meetings this year, both teams have come down and come back from big deficits. This is a huge one, though, 17, as Glenn goes deep into coverage. And for Akari Grant.
Ottawa's top rookie, Sherrod Baltimore, providing the coverage. Akari Grant thought did a pretty good job to sort of free up his arms and reach around the defender right at the end of the play here. Saskatchewan may even have had a case, again, in slow motion. The possibility that Baltimore made contact just before the ball arrived.
9 minutes to go, but this is a big play on second down for Ottawa's D. Glenn looking to dump it off. He does. but unable to hang on is Chad Owens. So they have to kick here. And Chris Jones, is he sending out his field goal unit? This would be about a 50-yarder for Tyler Krapina. Looks like they got Bartel out to punt this away. So they'll play for field position here. Bartel looking to angle. Funky formation as they all get to the line. Bartel aiming for that sideline, and it's a good kick. Right near the 10-yard line. Bartel likes it. 31-14. 17-point deficit. Trevor Harris has a lot of work to do.
Coming up in Winnipeg, Mike Riley and the Edmonton Eskimos take on the Blue Bombers for the right to go to Calgary for the Western Final. Well, what's Riley doing now? Well, he's watching the early game still. Lots of time before kickoff in the West as we head back to Ottawa. Rod and Dwayne.
What a year Mike Riley had. Outstanding player nominee in the West. Ricky Ray in the East. Trevor Harris needs to find some momentum. They get a first down. A Bronx cheer comes up. Think about the REDBLACKS and how explosive they were out of the gate here. The big play to Deontay Spencer. Since that big play, they've had none.
Yeah, it's been nickel and diming. And again, when you've got a nicked up Greg Ellingson, who's, you know, along with Spencer, your best option in terms of stretching the field, you become a little limited offensively.
Got to get out of bounds and use this clock. Dominic Rhymes. His dad, George Rhymes, played for the Blue Bombers on this field back in 1988 at the Grey Cup, and Ellingson can only watch right now.
You know, another factor for Ottawa has been that the deficit became big enough that they got away from William Powell in the run, and it's affected everything.
And they can't go back to it. Harris could run if he wants. He throws instead, and that should have been caught. And that's the kind of day it's been for the REDBLACKS, as Rhymes was on his butt, but could not hang on.
Yeah, Harris steps up and makes this throw for what would have been pretty healthy 15-20-yard gain.
Got crossed up a little bit, Rhymes did. His dad, Buster Rhymes, former Blue Bomber, also was an inspiration for the rapper, Buster Rhymes. They need to bust something soon here. Harris against the grain, and Rhymes hangs on. Clock ticks to 7:20. Rhymes is hurt. Clock ticks away.
And yet another Ottawa receiver banged up here.
That snaring pass-catching technique, Dominic Rhymes. Here comes the house again. Harris near sideline. President Butler watching Kreider. Second down and 10. The reign of the defending Grey Cup champions in jeopardy here.
For 64, Bugatti. We got Beaver, Gotti, Espers.
Ask any of the teams over the last 20 years how difficult it is to go back-to-back. There's suddenly the hunt dead. Harris pitching it out once more. Way short of a first down. It'll set up a third down to William Powell.
And Saskatchewan's not sending a lot of extra guys in the rush, and they're, oddly enough, for as much as the high-pressure defense has been Chris Jones' reputation, They don't necessarily blitz a lot. They've got guys sitting back in coverage. Ottawa's throwing those short routes. Saskatchewan's just coming up and making plays.
Harris must catch, must make, and it's made. Kreiner down near the 20-yard line. To the 26. That would have been really ball game had he not caught that. 5.5 to go. They've got to find the end zone soon here for any hope. Saskatchewan rushes 4. Harris sideline. Oh my! Deontay Spencer had an early gift from Santa Claus.
Yeah, I don't think Ed Gainey touched this one, but created just enough of a distraction as Spencer's going to get down that sideline.
The hand get in the way here. They have altered it right there. That was instant touchdown.
A terrific play by Gainey, who's had just a tremendous 2017 season. This is a guy who's gotten better every year he's been in this league.
Crossing route, cut back. We'll have another third down play here. Another must make as the REDBLACKS quickly get to that line of scrimmage. They've got to get to the 17-yard line or better. Or you could start punching tickets for the Riders to head to Toronto. And I'm not sure. Don't think they got it.
Yeah, that looks short to me.
Looks like the Saskatchewan offense is going to come back on the field with 4 minutes to go. And a drive that ends here. We'll likely see the Ottawa REDBLACKS hopes end here. Still 4:10 to go. But now Saskatchewan can take the clock down to at least the 3-minute warning. 31-14, Riders about to roll to Toronto. The CFL playoffs on TSN are brought to you by Shaw. Proud to present the 105th Grey Cup. 2 Sundays from today, back here at TD Place Stadium. Yet another year could go by where there is no home team in the Grey Cup game. Reality is setting in for these fans who had such a great chance over the last year to celebrate the REDBLACKS victory, but they would need a miracle right now, down 17. Enough can't be said about the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And what was the word they were talking about yesterday when we sat down with them? Every one of them,
Ottawa,
from Duron Carter to Chris Jones to Ed Gainey to Kevin Glenn, said the word was peaking, and they are peaking at the right time.
Yeah, they've kind of turned things around. I thought the second half of the season, the irony is that technically they were 5-4 in both halves, but I thought a real exclamation point for them in the second half of this season came with the win over Calgary. Coming down the stretch, just a dominant performance. And one of the things that stood out to me as well when you look at Saskatchewan's results through the year, they play everybody in the league at least twice. They didn't get swept by anybody. The only team against whom they lost 2 games in a row was Calgary. They lost to Calgary the first 2 times they played them. Closed the deficit from game 1 to game 2 from 17 points down to 6 points. And then when they played them the third time, they beat them. And I just thought in terms of their adjustments against opponents, they did a very good job all year.
Calgary Stampeders for most of the season were the barometer, the bar for everybody to play against, and the Stamps were stomping everybody, and all of a sudden there was some vulnerability, and maybe that's when the Saskatchewan Roughriders started to believe that they've got something special going here.
And talking to Chris Jones yesterday, he really felt there was a point in the year at which the accountability level of the players really changed. That they really recognized themselves that only they could stop making certain mistakes.
Deontay Spencer trying to get the edge, now trying to get the other edge. Buried past the 55-yard line, now near the 53. So 3 minutes and 7 seconds, one play to the 3-minute warning. Harris has a chance to, again, it's the CFL, and we have seen strange things happen. But we haven't seen much resistance from the Ottawa REDBLACKS offense today.
Well, again, the offense came out of the gates, fired up, you know, but I thought the real turning point overall in this ball game, and you know, you heard the guys talk about it at halftime, the Sam McGuavin interception.
Huge. Harris dances out of the pocket, flushed out, look out, he is hammered, he throws it downfield. Just as he threw that football, as Rakeem Cox got to him. 3-minute warning, 3 minutes away from Saskatchewan heading back down the 401 to Toronto. On a date with the Argos next week.
On TSN, the West Division semifinal. Looking at Matt Nichols on the right, doing some footwork. How healthy will he be? He will get the start for Winnipeg, such a key player for them against the Edmonton Eskimos. First, the conclusion in Ottawa as we go back to Rod and Dwayne.
All right, thank you, Rod. Looking forward to that one. This one almost over. Riders drop 9, rush 3. Stangby, catch. Mwamba, the tackle.
I mean, the one thing you're guarding against if you're Saskatchewan right now, and they've done a good job taking it away all game, is the big play opportunity. 2:38 to go in a 3-possession game. Saskatchewan can let Ottawa score. They just have to make sure they eat up time doing it.
Harris on 3rd down has to get that first down. He does. Takes some punishment near the 40-yard line. Painful day for the REDBLACKS. Physically and on the scoreboard. Harris is hurt. He wants to stay in, though.
Yeah, Trevor Harris doing his best to shake this one off.
Greg Ellingson going down with injury. Number of injuries. There's the rush, and Harris had to do well again to get hit hard.
Get noticed like a pro in the 2017 GMC Sierra Elevation Edition.
Two minutes and 10 seconds remain in the East Division semifinal in Ottawa. For another year, it's going to be the Western crossover team going to an East final. Edmonton did last year, lost here to Ottawa. Saskatchewan now about to do the same thing, go to Toronto next week. Harris, look out. Javon Johnson almost had a gift. So another 3rd down.
You see Javon Johnson, a guy who was a big part of the REDBLACKS in their first couple of seasons. Departed last year before their Grey Cup season. Still looking to get a ring of his own.
Such a difficult task to repeat. Difficult year for the REDBLACKS. Had to go 7-3 down the stretch. Harris a wobbler, and it's caught. It's down to the 5-yard line.
That's Austin Hartley
with his first catch. Former Calgary Dino comes in for Jake Hardy.
Getting an opportunity now with injuries. Hartley, one of the top receivers in U Sports football a year ago. Mid-round pick. Comes up with a much-needed big play for the REDBLACKS.
So all you need is really a couple of touchdowns, couple of onside kicks.
Is that all?
That's it. Harris steps back, fires. And a misfire, looking for Lavoie. You know, you go back to that pick by Aguaman. Whatever kind of chemistry or rhythm Trevor Harris had in the game, and he had lots of it up until that point. Just seemed to lose it after that, and a lot of it had to do with the D-line as well for Saskatchewan. Lots of pressure on Trevor Harris here today.
Well, I think a combination of that, but also, you know, at a point where you were looking at sort of the teams going back and forth and trading touchdowns at that point, that's when the opportunity was created for Saskatchewan to turn it into a two-possession game, and creates a little more desperation from Ottawa's point of view offensively. And gradually, as they maintain that two-possession lead, William Powell, who we talked about as a key to Ottawa's success, I mean, we haven't really said William Powell's name since second quarter.
Yeah, Spencer getting mushed there by Jeff Hecht, former St. Mary's star.
And you see William Powell, just one carry in the second half. 2 rushing yards for him.
3rd and goal, and it's a touchdown to Kreiner. So now convert, onside kick time.
You see Kreiner coming from the left side of your screen, managed to fight through, get across the face of Ed Gainey. Big, strong receiver. Claiming that inside position, making it an easier throw for his quarterback.
Now, if you're watching somewhere and you're new to the CFL, ability to get the onside kicks and the way the rules are, anything is possible. We have seen this as Maher misses it wide right. So it's an 11-point game. That was a huge miss.
Well, it was, yeah, making a difficult situation.
Now you got to score 2 touchdowns, or a touchdown, 2-point convert, and a field goal. But, and again, it's entirely possible. Harken back to the Winnipeg Blue Bomber Montreal Alouette game earlier this summer.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen crazier finishes certainly in the Canadian Football League. You see this one just drift right on him.
Well, now Maher's got to gather himself, because this is key. The onside kick, the hands team comes out for the Riders. With 1:47 to go. Among those out there, Duron Carter.
Yeah, Carter's the key receiver out to that side.
They leave it on the ground, and they'll go down quickly for the touch. 1:45. And the Eastern road trip is going to continue for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, certainly looking that way. The Riders looking to stay here in Ottawa for much of the week before heading to Toronto.
Riders dominated the Argos this year, 2 wins, scoring them by 10. We'll have it next Sunday, the Eastern Final. Bring in Brandon Bridge, but to mop up, he can do, of course, is use his legs if needed. How about the KG veteran, KG, Kevin Glenn.
Adding another win to that career playoff tally.
Keeping the chase for the ring alive.
Yes, sir. Year 17 in the Canadian Football League for KG.
Best chance came back in 2012 with Calgary losing to Toronto. They'll go back to play against the Argos in a great matchup against Ricky Ray. 2 2:07, of course. Remember, he broke his arm. That was a really good chance for the Blue Bombers, ironically against Saskatchewan.
I mean, and ironically, another Grey Cup game that was in Toronto. You look back at 2012, it was that Chris Jones coach defense that deprived him then. So KG might argue that, Coach Jones, you kind of owe me.
Canadian quarterback Brandon Bridge pressed so many people this season. Set new standards for Canadian quarterbacks, and we're going to hear a lot more down the road. We might hear a lot more from Brandon Bridge next week.
Well, a little bit of homecoming. Bridge, you remember, led that huge rider charge in the win over Toronto. Came on in the second quarter of that ball game.
Kind of his coming out party.
Yeah, I mean, that was Bridge's biggest game.
Talented young quarterback in Mississauga.
One of the quarterbacks, by the way, now at his old high school, St. Marcellinus, happens to be Chad Owens Jr.
Yes. So it's going to be a homecoming of sorts. And hey, how about Chad Owens going back as well? And all the great years he had. Well, so our Nissan Titan player of the game is one of the oldest players on the field, 38 years young. Kevin Glenn turned back the clock today.
Well, Kevin Glenn has been terrific. Much talk about the quarterback duo. Some may have called it a controversy, but Kevin Glenn left absolutely no doubt today from the first moment he touched the football. He had this offense clicking on all cylinders, with an honorable mention to his running back, Marcus Thigpen. Kevin Glenn is today's Nissan Titan player of the game.
The two Detroit, Michigan guys, as a matter of fact, brought to you by Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the CFL. So we talked to Kevin yesterday about, did you have to pack a lot? A lot of these guys didn't pack much clothing. They packed a lot of shoes. And they said, as it goes on, the more wins you get, the more bonus money you get. You may have to buy a few more things on their extended road trip.
That's right. Yeah, it was interesting to hear some of the philosophies. Now, Kevin Glenn and Brandon Bridge roomed together on the road. These two guys, they're both shoe guys. And in fact, actually even despite already having taken up half of their luggage with shoes, we're actually shoe shopping yesterday. Mrs. Glenn, Kevin says to tell you it's Brandon's fault.
Well, they came to Ottawa, and they didn't come for a sightseeing visit. This has been a business trip.
Hey, everybody back home in Detroit, thanks for watching. Rider Nation, here we come. Let's go.
Well, they'll be away from Rider Nation for...
That's from Double D.
Next week, at the very least, and then perhaps one more. They want this road trip to end on November 26th. Harris catch Kreiner with 1:08 to go. Some playoff notes in this game. Fastest 2 touchdowns ever in a playoff game in all of CFL history. First 4 minutes, 7 seconds. Fastest 3 touchdowns ever in a playoff game. First time ever that first 3 possessions, as Rod Smith told us at halftime, ended up in a touchdown. We had fireworks early on, but Saskatchewan's D then tightened things up. Tightened the Bulls. The Red Blacks struggled out of the gate. Some called it a Grey Cup hangover early. And got some traction late in the season, finishing 7-3. Harris pulls it down, pegs one in. Once again, the guy who started it, and for the most of this second half, this guy's been on the sidelines and quite simply one of the best in the game. And when you're missing that, you're missing a lot.
Yeah, it's not making excuses. Every team certainly battles injuries at various times. But Ottawa's receiving core took a real hit here at the critical time. You consider already without Brad Sinopoli, Greg Ellingson goes down today, Jake Hardy goes down today. And it turned into tough sledding for the Ottawa offense, but the Saskatchewan defense, I think, had already put the clamps on them by that point.
Not having a Brad Sinopoli, who's undergone surgery, by the way, for his injury. That's a big miss. Austin Hartley getting some playing time here. They're saying it's a catch. 22 seconds to go in this one. And 11 points. Harris batted down by Willie Jefferson, who led the CFL in pressures this season. Bearing his teeth today.
Willie Jefferson's a guy who has been problematic, to say the least, for offenses all year.
Rick Campbell just dumped the headset. Defending Grey Cup champions. They're going to look to 2018 now. Some off-season work. Went off a body. William Powell scampering around, knocked down with 7 to go. Looked like we might have a thriller early on, but it turned into a bit of a rout in the second half. Nowhere near the previous 5 meetings. There's a CFL playoff record, 60 pass attempts by Trevor Harris, but bad news is not many of them completed. Final play, the East semifinal. And down goes Harris. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are headed to Toronto to continue their Eastern journey. And they hope to be back here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, an outstanding performance from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, led by their veteran quarterback, Kevin Glenn, who collects his first playoff win in 5 years.
That one has to feel so sweet for Kevin Glenn. Came out gunning, didn't stop. Got some great performances from his defense, his O-line, and Marcus Thigpen. The Riders are still rolling and still alive. The defending Grey Cup champions are out. The finals 31-20 here in Ottawa in Game 1 of our doubleheader. Let's send it back to Rod Smith in the studio.
Thank you, Rod. So part 1 is done.